Imagine a world where silent guardians vanish overnight, not with a bang, but a whisper. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the ground beneath your feet, all depend on a complex, interconnected web of life. We focus on the grand and majestic, but the true architects of our world are often unseen, working in shadows, soil and sea. Remove these keystone species and the web unravels catastrophically. Today, we reveal 5 disappearances that could trigger a global nightmare. This is a stark look at the fragility of our existence, a reminder of the invisible connections that sustain us. Let's examine those threads, one by one. Our journey begins in the ocean, home to phytoplankton, the invisible forests of the sea. These tiny algae are the foundation of the marine food web, feeding everything from krill to whales. Remove phytoplankton and the entire oceanic food chain collapses. Krill, fish, whales, seabirds all starve. But the disaster doesn't stop there. Phytoplankton produce over half the world's oxygen through photosynthesis. Their disappearance would shut down Earth's primary oxygen factory. Oxygen levels would drop, suffocating life on land and sea. Phytoplankton also absorb billions of tons of carbon dioxide, locking it away in the deep ocean. Without them, CO2 would skyrocket, triggering runaway global warming. The oceans would acidify, dissolving shells and killing what little life remains. Weather would become violent and unpredictable. The world would gasp for breath, its life support switched off. The collapse of the marine world would be the first act in a global tragedy. The loss of these tiny guardians would leave behind a breathless, overheated planet. The greatest powers often come in the smallest packages. The world as we know it would begin to die, starting with the sea. The vanishing of the unseen would herald the end of the scene. The silence of the ocean would echo across the globe. Our planet's fate would be sealed by the loss of its smallest life forms. Now to land, fields, orchards and gardens, where pollinators like bees perform daily miracles. Their hum is the heartbeat of agriculture, moving pollen from flower to flower. Imagine a world where that hum falls silent. Bees, butterflies, bats all gone. Flowers would bloom in vain, their petals unanswered. 3/4 of our food crops depend on animal pollination. Without pollinators, apples, almonds, coffee and countless others would vanish. Supermarket shelves would empty, diets reduced to bland grains. Global famine would be immediate, economies shattered. Wild flowering plants would also disappear, triggering ecosystem collapse. Insects, birds and mammals that rely on these plants would starve. The landscape would lose its color, diversity and stability. Soil would erode, rivers would choke and hillsides would collapse. The world would become less colorful, less diverse and far less stable. The silence of the bees would become the silence of the earth. The intricate dance of pollination, once broken, would bring our world to its knees. The vibrant green tapestry of nature would unravel. The loss of pollinators would prove that the most delicate touches have the most powerful consequences. Our world would be left starving and grey. The silence would be deafening. The earth's beauty would fade away. Beneath our feet lies the hidden world of the soil, ruled by the humble earthworm. These blind, limbless engineers tirelessly process the earth, creating healthy soil. Imagine if earthworms vanished overnight. At first, nothing seems different, but deep below, the soil begins to suffocate. Without worms, dead matter piles up, smothering new growth and blocking water. The soil's natural replenishment halts. It becomes compacted and hard. Water runs off, taking topsoil with it, and roots struggle to penetrate. Crops fail, yields plummet, and fields turn to dust. Desertification accelerates, freshwater systems choke on sediment. The soil's living ecosystem collapses. Bacteria, fungi, insects all gone. The earth becomes inert, incapable of supporting life. The world's breadbaskets become barren wastelands. The water cycle breaks, leading to floods and droughts. The loss of earthworms is a quiet apocalypse. We would stand on a planet of hard, dead ground. Civilization's foundation would crumble beneath us. The health of the world above depends on the tireless work below. The earth would be sealed in a tomb of its own making. Now to the kingdom of fungi, the great decomposers. Alongside bacteria, fungi break down the dead, returning nutrients to the cycle of life. Imagine if every fungus and decomposing bacterium vanished. The world would become a planetary tomb, dead matter piling up, never decaying. Nutrients would be locked away, plants would starve, and growth would cease. Forests and farms would fail, life grinding to a halt. Disease would run rampant, water sources contaminated by undecomposed waste. The air would be thick with harmful spores. Countless species depend on fungi, plants, insects, even trees. Without mycorrhizal fungi, forests would sicken and die. The cycle of life, death, and rebirth would be severed. The planet would become a museum of its own past, with no future. The world would be choked by its own history, unable to move forward. The process of decay is not an end, but a transformation. Without it, the world would be sterile, preserved, and ultimately dead. Death is as important as life. The disappearance of decomposers would reveal this fundamental truth. The Earth would be buried alive under the weight of its own past. Finally, we turn to the keystone predator. Wolves, sharks, sea otters, architects of balance. Imagine every wolf vanishes overnight. Deer and elk populations explode, stripping the land bare. Young trees are eaten before they can grow. Forests can't regenerate. Songbirds lose their homes, beavers can't build dams, wetlands vanish, rivers erode, aquatic ecosystems collapse. Herbivores, having eaten themselves out of house and home, starve and sicken. The landscape is littered with carcasses, a testament to imbalance. This is a trophic cascade. The removal of a top predator restructures the entire ecosystem. Wolves, by hunting deer, protect forests, rivers, and fish. Their presence keeps herbivores moving, preventing overgrazing. Without predators, the ecosystem becomes chaotic and discordant. Predators are the conductors of nature's orchestra. Their absence silences the symphony, leaving only chaos. A healthy ecosystem is about balance, not the absence of death. The predator's vital pressure maintains equilibrium. Their loss reveals the true cost of imbalance. This isn't science fiction, it's a warning of our planet's fragility. The breathless ocean, silent spring, barren ground. These are chapters in the same story. The disappearance of keystone species reveals the invisible threads connecting all life. Our survival is bound to theirs, but there is hope. We understand this now. Protecting biodiversity is self-preservation, conservation, sustainable choices, demanding change. These actions weave the threads back together. The web of life needs all its guardians, seen and unseen, and it needs us to be guardians too. Support conservation, choose sustainably, reduce your footprint, and spread awareness. Like, subscribe and share. Everyone needs to understand what's at stake. Let's work together to protect our one precious home. Thanks for watching.